So we work on the basis that there are studies that tell us as much as 80, 85, and 90% of jobs that the learners in our school will do, they don't exist yet. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to future proof those learners for those jobs. So we're going to prepare them in several different ways. We will prepare them academically, but we also have a huge focus on entrepreneurialism and making sure that they are ready if they want to go down that self-employed route if needs be.
Good evening, Shane, and thank you so much for taking the time to connect today. I've been extremely excited to learn more about Citizen School ever since I first read the article in Leading Your International School magazine. But just to get started, if you could tell me a little bit about how your journey at Citizen School began.
Sure. Thanks very much, Cameron. My journey started here in August 2023. So I was the head of the English department in my previous school, and it was a very traditional, as you would expect, school. Tables in a row alongside each other, line after line after line, and then a very strict curriculum, just a very traditional place to work. And then I was driving down the road or Sheikh Zayed Road here in Dubai one day, and I saw a huge banner for Citizen School, and I had never heard of it, honestly. I think I mentioned that to you, and I Googled it, I found out what it was about, and this school's motto is Reimagine Education. So I looked it up, I found out a little bit about the school, what it is that's done here, and I thought that I wanted to be a part of it. So I applied, I got an interview, I was offered a job, and I haven't looked back since. I love it here.
That's amazing, Shane. Thank you so much. And I love the phrasing of the reimagine education. It's something we're going to touch back on many times throughout this interview. But kind of language seems to be a common theme with citizens. It's something we do in our programs as well. We like to refer to our ambassadors, and you also don't use the word students. I believe you refer to them as learners. Are there any other kind of key vocabulary terms that are unique to citizens?
Yes, so you're right. We don't use the word students and we don't use the word teacher. We also don't use the word classroom. So on all of our documents everywhere throughout the school, my own job description, I'm not a teacher. I'm what we call a mentor. We have learners instead of students, and we have learning studios. So we have stepped away from that old traditional view, and what we've tried to do is basically make it more modern, be different, and reimagine education, like our tagline says. So our school is full of different ways that we can mentor and educate the learners. We have learning studios, like I said, we have little breakout areas. So we have beanbags all over our classrooms. Our tables are on wheels, our chairs are on wheels. We have these wonderful little, I might show you later actually if I can, these wonderful little boxes with the Citizens logo, and in there are cushions. So usually, for example, if I'm teaching a history class and I want to do some group work or I want to do some independent learning, I will set the task and I'll let the learners go, find a little pod, find a beanbag. We also have these like hot desks where the learners can sit. So I will ask them to go find one of those and continue on with the work.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Shane. And just to confirm, these beanbags and areas where they can relax and learn a little bit, those are actually in the learning studios. This isn't something we have to go to another room for. This is just the normal learning environment.
Our normal learning environment, we will have beanbags inside. So in every learning studio, there are beanbags. We have obviously our own seating plans, but we don't have the traditional desks like you would expect. Our desks are, like I said, on wheels. They also link together in certain ways so we can move them around. If we're doing a group project or group work, we can move them, push them, link them together. Then we can put maybe 8, 10 learners at that table. Over here, we will have maybe another 4 or 5 in a group, and the tables linked together. The chairs are obviously also on wheels, so the kids can scoot around amongst the tables. while they're working, but also outside the learning studio, we do have those pods. So we have quite considerably large pods that the kids can jump into, sit down inside on cushions, and get working. And we also have areas where if they need to take a break and if they need a reset for whatever that reason might be, for our own breaks, our own lunches, they have rooms with, we have pool table, we have foosball table, we have chess, lots of board games, and then they can just continue on and have fun essentially.
That's wonderful. And with all these resources, it almost sounds like a boarding school, but just for our listeners, this is not boarding. This is a normal, traditional, if you will. The students come and then they go home in the evenings.
Correct. No, no, we're not a boarding school. We are a private school here in Dubai. We're situated in a place called Al Satwa in Dubai, but no, we're not boarding. It is not, no, I wouldn't say traditional, but certainly more normal timings for sure.
Of course, yes. Maybe more traditional
You can say
scheduling was
traditional,
the
Cameron.
term.
You can say traditional, I won't.
Of course. And it goes right in line with the reimagining education. A reason we would need to reimagine education would be because preparing learners for a world that doesn't yet exist yet. I love that buzz line off of the website. Can you just tell me a little
Yes.
bit more about that?
Sure. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. We are completely unique and unapologetically so. That's how we set out to be. We want to be different. We are a school that does things differently. We do have exams like you would expect. And like I mentioned previously, we will be going down the route of GCSEs and A levels. So we have these separate pathways for our learners when eventually they do get to that level. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to future proof learners. We make sure that they have every avenue possible covered so they are safe when they do leave education, whatever route they decide to take. We're going to make sure that they are covered education wise so they can go on to further education, tertiary education if needs be. We have a huge emphasis on entrepreneurship here. So, our founder, Dr. Adil, he's an entrepreneur. He's the head of several companies and built them from the ground up. And that's his passion. That was his goal when founding the school, was that we were going to do things differently. We were going to find areas for learners that don't exist yet and prepare them for that. So we work on the basis that there are studies that tell us as much as 80, 85, and 90% of jobs that the learners in our school will do, they don't exist yet. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to future proof those learners for those jobs. So we're going to prepare them in several different ways. We will prepare them academically, but we also have a huge focus on entrepreneurialism and making sure that they are ready if they want to go down that self-employed route if needs be. And I think I mentioned to you also that we have our entrepreneurship curriculum that is open from year one up to year eight, which is our most senior cohort in the school as we speak.
Yes, and that was actually my next question. I assume that was a typo. Entrepreneurship from year one. That sounds incredible. And there was also mention of a co-mentorship where like the parents are brought in for this program. Could you speak a little bit more, especially just year one? How is year one getting involved with entrepreneurship?
Yeah, yeah, year one, you're right. What we're trying to do is we try to instill that mindset as early as possible. So our year one learners, I always have to work this out because I don't teach them, but year three is roughly eight. So then year two is six, seven. Year one will be five or six. So some of them will be five, some of them will be six, but they follow an entrepreneurship curriculum. So they're taught about everything and anything that goes along with that. So we teach them from year one to year eight about stocks, how to work an Excel sheet. We teach them the positives, the negatives about being self employed, all the benefits of being self employed, maybe the drawbacks to it. We teach them about tax, declaring tax free countries like we're living in right now. And we teach them about everything that you could possibly imagine that will allow them to set up, create, and profit from a business down the line. So, such as CVs, business plans. We also do design thinking so as that they can come up with an area that maybe they think there is a gap in the market. We teach them about niche markets. We teach them about everything so that they're prepared if that's the route that they want to go down.
Wow, that's amazing. And so it's being led from mentors like yourself, but also, like you said, Dr. Adil, and maybe entrepreneurial mentors throughout the community, correct?
Yeah, correct. We have a co-mentoring program also. So what our co-mentoring program does is that we're fortunate enough here that some of our learners' families are entrepreneurs. Dr. Adil himself is an entrepreneur, and that is basically the backbone of everything that goes on here. We reached out to some of our parents that we know are entrepreneurs, that are self-employed, that run successful businesses, to see would they be willing to come into the classroom and teach a unit or teach a module on whatever that might be. So we have some Bitcoin millionaires, we have some Ethereum millionaires here, and we just thought, what a wonderful opportunity for our learners to come to school, sit in a classroom on bean bags, and listen to someone who is actually successful. We're not just reading it from a textbook, we actually have a primary source standing right there in front of them. And that parent will become the mentor for the day, and they teach them all about whatever that unit plan that parent has decided to teach. So it's a really lovely, really wonderful community aspect to this school, and it's a lovely aspect that the parents really like to be involved in. And also for a little boy or a little girl to have his mom or to have his dad come in to mentor him as well as his classmates. How wonderful is that? So we're really proud of that. That's ongoing all the time. That's not a once off, that happens consistently. The mentor takes a backseat, if you will, and then the parent comes in, co-mentors, they complete that lesson that they will have planned for, that they will have made resources for, and that they will give examples from their own lives about how they failed, how maybe they succeeded, how many times they failed. And we encourage that. We make sure that the learners know that it's fine to fail. We make sure that they know that, and we're very happy if they take a chance, because that's essentially what entrepreneurship is about. 90 odd percent of businesses fail, so they need to know that that's okay. And that's what we try to do.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see that being instilled from such a young age. But I love that you brought up the part about how valuable it could be for a learner to have their parent in the classroom with them. I think, unfortunately, so many times with schools, there's a disconnect between the parents and learners. But when it truly is a community where everyone wants to come and work together, I think it's just incredible.
It is. It's really lovely, Cameron. And you'll see actually on the school's Instagram page, we have some parents speaking. So you will get to see that parent's viewpoint, what they felt about it. We also have some pictures of those parents teaching. So it's really, really lovely. And it's something that as a school, we're very proud of.
Absolutely. And of course, with entrepreneurship, with the way everything's going now, that's going to come very hand in hand with technology and digital literacy. There was actually, it was one of the main photos on that magazine article I saw about this learner
Yeah.
with the VR glasses on, and it just looked like this image grabbed right out of Ready Player One. But could you tell me a little more how you integrate that into your classrooms or into your learning studios? I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah, so that's part of our digital literacy curriculum. So we have our digital literacy mentor. So he's incredibly knowledgeable and a really lovely man, really loves his job. And what he does and what we do is other mentors also use it, but they're virtual reality goggles. So, for example, I was teaching something on history, and I mentioned to you previously because I love history, that's my thing. I love everything about history, but it's not just the textbook normal history that I love. I love the little quirky, weird stories that you find along the way. And I try to teach our learners as much as possible about that. And one instance that sticks out to me is I was teaching them about a con man called Victor Lustig, and he's famous for selling the Eiffel Tower twice. And I was giving the big spiel to the learners about this, and I was trying to surprise them with the con that he did. And he sold the Eiffel Tower one time to this man, and then he came back and he sold it a second time, and all the intricacies of what that involved. One of our learners put his hand up and said, Mr. Shane, I've never been to France. I've never seen the Eiffel Tower. So then what we did was I went and I spoke to the digital literacy team, and we got the AI goggles. And when they put them on, you can obviously, if you're familiar with them, you can search. And we got up the Eiffel Tower, and then the learners were able to put them on, stand at the Eiffel Tower and see exactly how big it was, get an idea for how many tons of steel Victor Lustig would have had to have estimated for, and all of these different things. And it was really lovely. It was really lovely class for me personally, because I love teaching it. And then for our learners to get to pop on these goggles. How cool is that? You know?
Absolutely. No, that is incredible. And that's exactly what I was hoping to hear. I remember when I was teaching and I first got like tablets and smartboards in the class, how much of an impact that had when I could kind of pre-plan and integrate that into my curriculum. But
Yeah.
what sounds so incredible with this is it can almost be a little bit improv. Like in this case, just, oh, well, he hadn't seen the Eiffel Tower. That will not do. He needs to see that. There was no pre-planning required. You just got to take your class to Paris right then and there.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, it's really lovely. And we can do that at any time and go anywhere with those. It's really wonderful.
Amazing. And then starting in year three, there's another kind of project-based learning that's added on. I mean, even that story of Paris, I could hear the interdisciplinary when we're talking about calculating steel and all of that. But can you talk a little bit about that project-based learning from year three to eight? Because that does seem a very important part of the curriculum.
Yeah, that's also something we're really proud of. So that's a class in itself. So our year three learners, up as far as our year eight, they will have a class on PBL. And what that is that's entirely project based. So, for example, what we're trying to get them to do is build a project, but first we have to get them to visualize maybe an issue that they can see in the world. For example, year five now are doing a PBL on the ocean. So their task is to basically make a better use of the amount of water that's in the ocean. What can we do? How can we make better use of the amount of it that's there? So right now they're working on a project where they can come up with some type of boat, some type of mechanism that will obviously be on the ocean, maybe powered by solar panels. And we have one of our year five learners, Rabia is his name. So Rabia has visualized this idea where he would have this boat, and he had to try and figure out how, what was he going to do to make this more sustainable, and what would he do to make better use of the ocean. So Rabia's idea in his visualization stage was to have a boat that had these huge solar panels. So he did that, and then he had to have, our next step is to empathize. So he had to empathize with what the problem was, and we had huge amounts of plastic in the ocean, huge amounts of waste. And then the next stage was to actually start designing this project. So we have a system called CAD, AutoCAD. So he came up with his visualization. He made some sketches on a paper. Then he jumped to CAD and he made this model on CAD on his iPad in class. And then his next step was he took that model and he downloaded the file and then uploaded that file onto a website where you upload a PDF and it will create a 3D file for you. Then he got that 3D file, downloaded that onto his iPad, and now we have a 3D version of it. And we have a printer here in school, so a 4D printer. So now he can send that to that, and we're actually going to get the prototype. And he did that all last week.
Wow, that's so incredible. And I think having the tangible, being able to hold it, see their idea come to fruition is going to be incredible. And,
Yeah.
and just again, to make sure I understood that correctly, that was a year five learner. So we're talking maybe 11, 12 years old maximum.
Yeah, Rabbi's year five, so he's probably 10, 11. Yeah, really cool. And he's so proud of it as well. I was teaching him a humanities lesson during the week, and he ran up to show me. He has the 3D model on his iPad, and he said, Mr. Shane, can I show you something? So he showed it to me, and I got to see it. I was moving it around on the screen, just the 3D version. But now we're going to print that. So then he has gone from visualizing it, sketching it, making the 3D model, and now we're going to actually have a prototype that we're going to print and bring into his class. Like, how cool is that for Rabia? He's a 10-year-old boy and he has done that. And he gets to show that to his classmates, and how inspiring for everyone else that's there. And for us, I was unbelievably impressed with him, and he was so happy to tell me. It's really lovely to see, you know.
Really, no, inspiring is the word, absolutely, Shane. And we've also talked a little bit about well-being initiatives. So you mentioned how the learners have the ability to reset in maybe a comfortable area. What other well-being initiatives are incorporated, and how are those fit into the daily schedule? Maybe on a more regimented, like not just the learner wanting to do a reset, but do they have a specific maybe yoga class or PE or that also incorporated?
They do. So we have P, of course, the same as any curriculum that you can imagine, but we also have for year one and two learners timetabled yoga. So we have a specific yoga teacher, Miss Marina, and what she does is she teaches them yoga. So we have a specific room downstairs, it's called our innovation lab. And in the innovation lab, it's open area that's carpeted. We have yoga mats, there's couches, we have tables, we have different seating areas. And Marina takes our year one and year two learners in there every week. It's timetabled, and she goes through yoga with them in order to give them a reset. We also have an in-school counselor. She's based here full time for any other issues that our learners might need to go and speak to her for. She's there on hand, so she's full time here.
Excellent. Sounds very good supportive system, of course. And you are in the humanities. I believe that is your specialty. And a term we hear a lot in humanities, especially in an IB curriculum, is that term global citizenship. And I was wondering if you could tell me in your own words, how would you define global citizenship? And then maybe just something different, 'cause you have talked about it a lot already, but a way that citizen embodies that.
Yeah, so my role here is I'm the head of the Humanities department, which consists of history, moral, social, and cultural studies, and we have our own unique subject called global citizenship. But what we try to do is we are a British curriculum school, but we are proud that we offer an enhanced British curriculum. So that obviously goes with our yoga, our digital literacy, our entrepreneurship, but also we have cross-curricular links that we try and run through all of our subjects. So, for example, in history, we might run through that story that I just told you about Victor Lustig that happened in France. Paris is the capital of France, and then that runs through our geography. We can do a PBL on that. We can also run that through entrepreneurship about how he was an entrepreneur, and so on and so on. But the MSc, we obviously focus on things like tolerance, patience, manners, being respectful. And then for global citizenship, that does all of those things combined. So what we try to do is we link them together. Global citizenship teaches our learners how to be citizens of the world, how to be better people, how to treat people correctly, how to have manners, how to be respectful of other cultures, how to be respectful of other languages. And what we're trying to do again is to future proof them by not just bettering them academically. We know that our purpose as mentors is to better them as people also. And when they leave this school, they will leave as better humans. That's our hope.
Absolutely. No, it's amazing to see all the cross-cultural links, the interdisciplinary, and like you stated from the very beginning, the end goal is to prepare them for the future, not just for their career, but for the future. And I think that's so amazing. Now, one thing I do think that also goes hand in hand with that is extracurricular activities. So they have this robust curriculum in the classroom, very interdisciplinary, but do they also have maybe an extracurricular activity supported by the school?
Yes, we do. So we have ICAs and ECAs. So our ICAs are what we do here. That's provided by the school. One that stands out is table tennis, for example. So our learners can sign up to something like that. But also separately, we have external curriculum. So we have right now, actually, outside the window is the Man City Academy. So the Man City Academy are here on our football pitch. They're here every week. And what they do is they sign up our learners, and our learners have football. So they have coaches out here on the pitch that run them through drills, run them through fitness, run them through passing, training, anything that you can imagine. And they love it. Absolutely adore that ECA, and it's actually going on right now. I can see them. I can see them doing it outside.
Wow. Yeah. With a name tied to it like Man City, how could they not love it?
So we've got two basketball courts inside with a 600 seater stadium, again for our learners. And that's another ECA that comes in, and our learners can sign up there and get coached by coaches, professional basketball coaches in here. And then we also have our 50-meter swimming pool, and that's another facility for our learners that we're super proud of.
Incredible. And are those like club sports within Citizen? Or like I remember from my high school experience, sport was probably one of the most memorable parts. Is there any competition between other institutions in Dubai?
Yeah, so those ones are externally brought in. So they come into our school, use our facilities, and our learners are given the option to sign up. And that goes with the Man City Academy, and that also goes for the basketball. But of course, we have competitions that go on all over. So DASA is the main sports body here. And what we do is we would compete with other schools, football, basketball, netball. Yeah.
Incredible. And towards the end of that article, I've brought up multiple times as of now, it ends at grade 8, correct? It's a kindergarten to grade 8 program. But that is changing come August 2025.
It will be August 27. We're hoping to have another campus built. So right now we go from nursery. So I have a little girl. My little girl is in nursery, and then we have right up until year 8. But obviously we're a growing school, and we have over here, the plan is to have another campus, if you will, where our school will have the capacity to take on more learners. So we will be moving from nursery to year 8. And then when that is up, we're aiming, the target is 2027 for it to be fully completed. Then we will have year 9, year 10, year 11, and so on will move over onto that campus where we can prepare them for their external exams so that they can be ready for whatever path they choose to go down. That might be A level, might be IB, whatever that path is, that we have them prepared academically. Or, like I said previously, we will also continue with our PBLs. We will also continue with entrepreneurship so that they're future proof for whatever road they want to go down. And again, we're really proud of that. And that's very exciting to be looking forward to having that secondary building opening in just less than 2 years, hopefully.
Absolutely. No, that's exciting. I didn't realize it wasn't just an expansion of students, but an expansion of infrastructure. So truly growing. That's very exciting. Now, will the year nines, they'll come also in 2027? That's when the secondary is looking to make a full launch, or will some students be welcomed into the current building first?
No, they'll be welcome into the current building. So right now we have year 8, and we still have just over here to my right, we're going to have, well, we have classrooms that there's no confirmation, but that's most likely where our current year 8s will move over there, because right now we're two form. So we've got 8A, 8B. Most likely they will be 9A and 9B, and they will be housed in a learning studio over here. And then hopefully get ready for year 10, year 11, and so on. And that's where we need to get wheels in motion for the other secondary building.
Absolutely. Well, exciting times for sure. Is diversity something that Citizen does see in its student body?
Yeah, for sure. There's a number I can for sure tell you, so we're quite proud of, is that we have 74 different nationalities. So we have students from all over the world, and we're very proud that we are a very inclusive and very diverse school. And you will find here in Dubai that schools are quite proud of that in general. And obviously, Emirati people are very proud of their country. Everywhere you go here, you will see the UAE flag flying proudly over houses. They're a very proud nation. And international schools here are very proud of the fact that they are an international community. Recently, we celebrated International Day. So we had stalls from 74 different nationalities. So we had a stall from Ireland, England, Spain, Portugal, Philippines, Kenya, the Caribbean, basically any country that you can think of. We had a stall, we had some food, we had coffee. And honestly, I think maybe you said you were part of them before, they're incredible. And the parents get really involved, the school is really involved, all of our learners dress up. We have obviously our Emirati learners will wear traditional dress. Any of the countries that have traditional dress, like maybe Russia, they will wear that. We have traditional food, traditional drinks. So it was really, really, really lovely. But we're very proud of the fact that we're quite diverse and we have 74 different nationalities. Yep.
That's incredible. 74 is such a number. And just hearing that was absolutely amazing. I think the diversity truly is the one thing you can do towards global citizenship. I think bringing that in and embracing it on that level, celebrating it is just amazing to hear. But I'm so excited for everything that will continue to happen at Citizens. And thank you for sharing this with us, Shane.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited about it, Cameron. Yeah, I'm very excited about our new secondary and I'm very proud to work here. It's an amazing place to work.
Absolutely. Well, it has been amazing speaking with you, and thank you again. But I do hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to staying connected.
Okay, Cameron, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.